A gente vai dar início ao quarto painel do Mercado Curta Cinema. O evento está realizando pelo primeiro ano, aqui no âmbito do festival, a partir do financiamento que tivemos do Ministério da Cultura, através da Secretaria do Audiovisual e do Fundo Setorial do Audiovisual. E também tem um patrocínio da Prefeitura de Niterói e o patrocínio da Rio Filme. E a gente fez, com todo esse financiamento, todas as atividades gratuitas, à exceção da venda de catálogo, camisetas e bolsas, que são os produtos que vendemos com o nome do festival, que é uma forma do retorno que o Fundo Setorial nos solicita de acordo com o regulamento que existe. Nesse quarto painel, está iniciando a discussão sobre novas formas de distribuição de curtas-metragens, conteúdo de curta duração. Então, temos a participação da Linda Olszewski, do Shorts TV, do Curto TV, e também tem vários trabalhos de longa data na distribuição e na promoção de curta-metragem, não só nos Estados Unidos, mas na América Latina e todo o mundo. E também da Anaí Copan, que faz parte de um grupo Manifest, que é um grupo de trabalho colaborativo de produtores franceses, uma forma de ajudar na promoção e na difusão e distribuição de seus curta-metragens. E como moderador, mediador, o Da Leite, que além de realizador, também tem um trabalho grande, antigo em curta-metragem e também em outros conteúdos. Ele também é curador do Music Video Festival de São Paulo, que é dedicado a videoclipe, né, que também é um conteúdo de curta duração, mas lá não é musical. Então ele vai dar início apresentando, falando um pouco e depois aberto as perguntas para vocês.
Bom, obrigado pela presença de vocês aqui no segundo dia do mercado do Curta Cinema. Como a Hilton já apresentou nós três, eu acho que seria legal a gente já começar com elas contando um pouco da experiência delas em relação às formas de distribuição, que é o tema dessa conversa, né? Então, acho que a gente pode começar com a Anaí.
Thank you. Hi. So my name is Anaïs. Okay. I'm working for Manifest. I'm a distributor. At the beginning of Manifest, the idea was to work with production company to help them to take care of the short film on all the industry for festival, for sales and anything. So it's 3 years of society. I'm working with 20 to 25 short films per year, and I've got a catalog of around 100 short films right now. Can you speak about the distribution stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So there is like a huge part of my work is to work with festival stuff, to register the film, to make a strategy around the short film for festival, take care of everything of the selection and etc. And there is the other part for the sales. So I'm working with the French TV channel, the worldwide TV channel 2, some VOD platform for museum, for movie theater. Yeah, that's it.
Eu vou fazer. I'm going to ask in Portuguese.
Okay.
E, como eu suponho que devemos ter alguns realizadores aqui, não sei, tem alguns realizadores presentes? Legal. Então eu queria que você falasse um pouco, se algum realizador brasileiro quiser mandar o curta para você selecionar, qual a melhor forma para fazer?
Okay, so like I said at the beginning, I was only working for 3 production companies, but now it's not the same process. For these companies, for I think 10 companies now, I'm taking care of their short films, but I can also take a short film, just one short film from a producer, one short film for a filmmaker, and if I really like the short film. So yes, I can see the film in festival, in the market, in the French market, but you can also just send me an email with the short film and I will watch it.
E o que você procura normalmente nos curtas? Tem algum gênero específico que vocês procuram mais, ou o que vocês buscam mais nos curtas-metragens?
Not really, because I'm not like just a distributor, because I'm working with the festivals too. So it's a bit different, because sometimes you can have a film which is really working in the festival, but it will not be something for French TV, I don't know. And sometimes you will have the film perfect for TV, but it's not really working in festival, so it depends. And since I'm working with all the short film from this production company, it's like, okay, the film is done, I will take care of it. So I've got all type of title, live action short film, animated, documentary, everything. And regarding the duration, it's almost all the time under 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Bom, vamos agora conversar com a Linda Olszewski. Did I pronounce correctly?
Yes.
Ok. A Linda, eu sei que você tem um background já há muitos anos, né, ligado ao curta-metragem. Eu queria que você contasse um pouco da sua experiência mais em relação à distribuição dos curtas.
Well, I started working with Shorts International in 2006, and we, at that point, we were primarily a boutique distribution company, and we decided to take on the Oscar Shorts releases as a producer. So we were creating opportunities for the Oscar-nominated short films, but also for individual short films. And we started off pretty much by, like Anaisa's company, we would pick up short films from all over the world, and we would go out to different buyers from anywhere from a lot of television, at that time it was television, airlines pretty much were the buyers. Now it's grown to where there's, at that point we've launched like EST or VOD platforms. I managed the short films on iTunes for the first 5 years, where we were the sole aggregator for short films, making them available on iTunes. And we then started launching the shorts on Amazon. There are a number of other platforms as well for shorts. One thing that you as individual filmmakers can do, and you don't need an aggregator, is Vimeo has a platform called Vimeo On Demand, which means that people will pay to see your short film. Vimeo for free, you can do it too, but you won't get paid. But Vimeo On Demand, it's available on a worldwide platform, and you as a filmmaker or producer would get 90% of the profit if you do that directly. So you don't need us to do that. I'm just putting that to your attention.
E se uma pessoa, um realizador aqui presente quiser entrar em contato com você para mostrar os filmes dele, o que eles devem fazer, como que eles devem entrar em contato com você, e aproveitando uma outra pergunta também que fiz para a Anaí, o que você busca num curta em geral? O que tem algum gênero específico? Imagino que para cada plataforma seja uma demanda diferente, né? Por exemplo, airlines ou para TV, mas o que você busca em geral num curta?
Well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit, because a few years ago, I think it was in 2008, is actually when we started launching our television network channel, Shorts TV. Because at that time we were noticing that there were not as many television buyers. There was a lot of changes going on with different governments that used to fund support of short films, buying of short films for different countries. So at that point we launched Shorts TV in the US and in Europe. And most recently, which is also why I'm down here, is we've launched TV Cortos, which is a TV channel here in Latin America specializing or focusing solely on Spanish language and Portuguese films. The TV channel is not in Brazil yet, it hopes to be, but we are in a number of the countries here in Latin America. Also, Shorts TV is also recently launched in India. So there's opportunities there for your short film. In terms of genres, for distribution, we're more boutique. It seems that we're picking up short films that makes sense, that we think, like when we look at it, we go, oh yeah, this has potential. It's what's considered an evergreen short that has a universal appeal for different buyers. So we'll pick up shorts like that for distribution, but for the TV channel, that's another thing. It's great because it's much more open. The doors are wide open right now for filmmakers here from Brazil and all of Latin America for TV Curtas, and we've got a wide open door through this year. So right now we're just launched, and I'm here looking. So if you're interested in your film being considered for TV Curtas, it's pretty easy you can send me a private link to your film, and I'd be happy to look at it. And it's at that point, what I do is I just send you a contract, and I ask you to send deliverables, which is a digital delivery system, so it's free to deliver. Once the materials are reviewed and QC'd and they're approved, then at that point you send an invoice for the amount that is due for your film, and we pay you via wire transfer, so it goes directly into your bank account. The TV licenses are non-exclusive, so that's terrific because you can work on other television networks or other platforms, and there's no exclusivity. The one thing they ask is that films are not online for free during this period, so you should at least keep it offline for a while. If it's on a situation like Vimeo on demand, where it's behind a paywall, that's not a problem. In terms of genres, comedy's great, drama's fine. We're looking for local stories from Brazil. We're looking, sexy's always good. Love shorts are great. And sci-fi, crime shorts. I mean, our TV channel is a 24/7 short film television network. It's like HBO, but just shorts. And so we are constantly buying a lot of shorts to be able to air them, and we air them, we curate them in zones. And there's, as I mentioned, there's different zones. If you have an animation, you go into the animation zone. If you have a short that is dealing with some crime, then it would go into the crime zone. If you're a filmmaker that's a woman director, you would go on films by her zone. So there's just different zones. Sometimes you can go into more than one zone. For really terrific films, like wonderful, wonderful films, we do movies of the week, where it's spotlighted on a Saturday night, and there's a lot of promotion on that. Or as a filmmaker spotlight, which is spotlighting filmmakers that we think are the filmmakers to watch. To be able to be considered, it's pretty easy. You just send me a private link via email, and I take a look at it, and we go from there.
Ok, perfect. Eu fiquei com uma dúvida. Você falou que você está launching na Índia o TV Curtas ou os Shorts?
Shorts TV is in India, and TV Curtas is in Latin America.
Ok, perfect. E você, bom, como o foco da nossa conversa é distribuição, qual a importância você acha, por exemplo, para um curta estar num festival? Como que um realizador jovem pode trazer visibilidade para o curta dele, além de mandar o link para você, né? Ou seja, como que ele pode criar um buzz com o curta-metragem que ele realizou?
Are you asking specifically for festivals or in general?
In general.
Well, first of all, festivals are your theatrical run. So if you think like you're as a producer, you want to think like a studio. So when you're submitting to festivals, this is your theatrical run. You are getting a theatrical audience in a theatrical setting in festivals around the world. For buzz, to create buzz for your film, social media is free, and it's a great tool. Also too, making of, like in terms of your festival experience or your production experience, those are terrific ways to be able to create awareness of your film on places like Facebook or Instagram, or well, not WhatsApp really, but Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, because you can get a following that way. You can also set up through your own website like a little newsletter to be able to, or blog, so that people can constantly check in to see what you're doing or what. And every time you get into a festival, announce it. Announce it. You're going to be at this festival. You're at this festival. that you and with the film and who's going to be there, announce that what time the film is screening, and also when you're at festivals, be open to press. If there are opportunities, a lot of times film festivals will set up meetings for you with the press. Announce it on your social media. I'm going to be on TV, you know, or I'm. And if they send you, they do a press article about your film, get a link so that you can put it on Facebook or Twitter and tweet it out. You know, check out this new article based upon this film, you know, my film, and blah blah blah. Yeah. So those are good ways to get buzz.
Yeah, and Anais, você também tem quais as suas dicas para realizador jovem ter visibilidade para os curtas? A Linda já falou as sugestões dela, quais seriam as suas?
You are asking about the festivals part?
No, in general also, like how can people get get their films to be noticed by you?
Yeah. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I would say like there is so many short films in the industry, in the short film circuit. I think you communicate. It's really important, but maybe you can follow you if you have some selection. Just follow your films in festivals, because I've got a lot of filmmakers. I'm working with them, and they are like sometimes really not so big festival, but they are like some workshop, or they can bring some professional distributor, producer and stuff. And I think in the point to make a short film is that it will be like a visit card, a visit card for the future. So I think a lot of people in the industry want to follow someone, follow a talent, follow a short film, etc. And in a lot of French festivals, there are like a part for script doctoring, for workshop, and even if the film is not finished, if the film was selected for a pitch, for a workshop, for a script thing, the festival will be happy to see the finished film and to promote it, and to so maybe you can just go to this kind of events even if the film is not finished, to communicate around the films, and maybe you can also work on the visual of the film, you know, to make a nice poster, a really great synopsis, not too long, a trailer, some stuff like that people can remember this film, because it's like we are surrounded around short films.
I want to add one more thing. One other thing I'd like to add is that if you're having, like, this is your journey as a filmmaker. So with your film, if you are like at each festival, when you're going to a festival, I would put it out there, like the types of films you're seeing and inspired by, maybe what it's been like to be in this new city, the types of filmmakers you're meeting, like maybe there's some filmmaker you've met and you guys are thinking about collaborating on something in the future. Just that kind of thing, you're putting it out there, because when people in general are looking at and following you, they want to follow, they really like it when there's something genuine, like when they're hearing from your heart, like something that's going on, not complaining from your heart, but like more like, you know, something really inspiring, something positive of what this experience gave you. Those types of things are really helpful, because in the long run, sometimes these people end up, like for instance, in future, you may want to make another short, and then you want to put together a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe type campaign, and these people that have been following you say, I really like that girl, or I really like that guy, or you know, or I heard they're gonna make a film together, and oh yeah, I want to contribute to that. And then that way, when you put it out there, you may have more support than you knew, because people are getting to know you, and they want to support you as a emerging talent.
Linda, sorry. Aproveitando uma coisa que a Anaís comentou, dizendo que os curtas são cartões de visita, servem como cartões de visita, né? Eu gostaria de saber, na sua experiência, que você já tem, enfim, muitos anos trabalhando com curta, você acha que o curta realmente é um cartão de visita e muitos diretores que começaram, eu sei que muitos começaram em curtas e foram para longas, mas você acha que o curta também é uma forma em si de arte? Quer dizer, tem diretores que continuam fazendo curta direto, como é uma paixão, ou sempre serve como cartão de visita?
There are 3 reasons why people make short films. Well, there's someone like Bill Plimpton who makes mostly shorts. He has the rules where it's got to be short, cheap, and funny. So, and he makes a living doing shorts. He's an animator. Has done a couple of features as well, but his thing is shorts. In general, the 3 reasons people make shorts are, it's true, it's in a sense a business card showing you your work as a talent. It could either be your work as a director or a writer-director. It could be that you are an actress and you need to be able to produce a film to show your work, to have more for your reel. It could be that it's a proof of concept or proof of character. So proof of concept is a film that is a short segment. It's like a standalone segment of a feature film. Like, for instance, it could be your first act or your second act of the film, and then you are getting the buzz. The film is really well made. People are interested, and as industry or investors approach you, well, this is actually a proof of concept. It's a feature, and by my making this part of the short, I'm saving 5 days of the production budget from the feature. All we have to do is insert it. A good example of that was Cashback. Cashback was an Oscar nominee, and it became a feature film. And he did exactly that. He inserted it, and he saved 5 days for production. So there's that. There's also proof of character. I was mentioning to the folks in the cab when I was here earlier that I'd worked on Hanna-Barbera's What a Cartoon. And back then what we did is there was, some of you might know Powerpuff Girls or Johnny Bravo or Dexter's Lab. Well, I was there as an assistant. We found those characters, the character designs pitched, and then we pitched them with the filmmakers, and we started them as short films and then started creating awareness, and then it turned into a TV series, and some of them feature films and merchandising and franchises and all of it. So that's a proof of character example, and that's from studio. That's why I say think like a studio. But there's that reason. Then there's some people that make shorts because they're seeded by the universe with inspiration for this film that they just have to make. They're not making it for money. They're not making it for anything. They're just making it because they have to. There's that reason. And then to prove your chops, to prove that you actually can handle the craft. And then finally, the one other reason people make shorts is because they're trying to experiment with different ways of movie making, or working with new cameras, or working with new types of equipment. Perfect example is Pearl. Pearl was a nominee a couple of years ago. It started as a VR film. Google supported it in VR, and then they ended up Oscar qualifying it as a 2D, and it became nominated. It's a terrific film. So there's different reasons why people make shorts. And business card, yes, is one.
Eu também lembrei que, concordando com o que você falou, tem vários diretores que já são bem consagrados e que também, às vezes, retornam para os curtas, né? Por exemplo, estou lembrando David Lynch ou Sofia Coppola, não sei, tem vários diretores que... o Michel Gondry, que no caso fez clipes, né, também, além de que são espécies de curtas-metragens. Então, é interessante ver como alguns diretores vão e voltam, né, para o formato.
Last year, actually over the years, what's neat is as being an Academy member, I see all the Oscar qualified shorts. and it's neat to see, like last year, Jim Sheridan made a short called 13th Hour, and then didn't get nominated or shortlisted, but it was still a good short. And then also, a couple of years ago, Mira Nair made a short, which was neat, because I'd only seen all her features. So, and then Ron Howard got behind with Canon, and he was producing several shorts, and his daughter, Bryce Dallas Howard, started with a short with them, so acting for her reel. So, and I think she directed it too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think so too. Chloe Sevigny also
Yes.
directed the short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a lot, and it's just people. And what's great about making a short film is it doesn't take a lot of time. You can make it over a weekend. It doesn't take a lot of money. You can ask a lot of friends for favors. So it's really just about the will to get it done. So.
Legal. Como o tema é novas formas de distribuição, eu queria também levantar uma questão, antes de abrir para as perguntas, sobre o conteúdo em VR. Você mencionou que um curta, eu esqueci o nome, mas que foi lançado primeiro como um projeto de VR e depois o projeto 2D para ser qualificado pelo Oscar. Como que vocês veem essa nova tecnologia de VR? É uma coisa recente ainda, mas como que seria a forma de distribuição para VR, que é um formato, né, que ainda enfim, precisa do óculos para ver, então é um pouco mais complexo, né, não é simplesmente um link. Como vocês enxergam isso? Existe um mercado já para VR?
Yeah, but actually I don't really know because I never work with a VR short film, but yeah, I don't know, I will let you speak about the VR, but I've got a short film which is, there is one version for the VR and one version for only the short films. So sometimes the film is selected only for the short film, the film version, and there's like an exhibition in the festival for the VR, so it could be related.
Eu perguntei isso porque nos festivais nacionais, por exemplo, na Mostra de Cinema de São Paulo, aqui também no próprio Curta Cinema, já tiveram mostras de filmes VR, não mostras exatamente, mas alguns trabalhos em VR exibidos no festival. Então é uma coisa que eu acho que está vindo, né, para aí caminho.
So we don't actually distribute VR at all. VR is another. It's like short films is very niche market. VR is another niche market, so they're separate. But I have seen as a similar scenario where, like I mentioned, Pearl and had the VR version versus the 2D version. I have also seen, which I think is pretty cool, the people that are able to somehow shoot in VR and they do something with the phone, and then all you have to do is move your phone around and you can see it with your phone. You don't need glasses. I think actually that is going to go somewhere. Like that has potential to go somewhere, because anytime you've got clunky stuff that people have to wear all the time, I've never really seen it be super successful. I mean, it never really has. I mean, 3D is, you know, that people will wear the glasses, and I mean, but they're just tools. Ultimately, what matters is story more than anything. You got to have a good story, and it's got to be a good film, no matter how it's shot, because that's the driving force.
Você mencionou o Vimeo, por exemplo, que é uma forma de distribuição que não depende de um distribuidor exatamente. O próprio realizador pode distribuir, né, o seu curta. Você pode falar um pouco mais sobre isso?
Vimeo on demand is, I would encourage you to go to Vimeo on demand versus Vimeo. Vimeo on demand is a scenario where the public around the world will pay to see your movie, and it's not country centric. So you can deliver and make it available anywhere in the world, and people can pay you to see the film. Vimeo, putting it on for free, It's fun for about for a short period of time, but realistically, I find that a lot of filmmakers that have put their films on Vimeo, they're hoping to get discovered by putting their films on Vimeo, but realistically, the people that are looking at films on Vimeo are mostly other filmmakers or just fans. It's not a lot of the professional people. Sometimes if you're a music video director and you're making music videos, maybe that's a way to get found as to be a music video director, but as an actual director of films, especially feature films. Studios do not look to Vimeo to find their next Steven Spielberg or whomever. They don't do that. There's a specific way to get in as a director in the studio world, or even in the independent feature world, and it is not by putting your film online for free for the public. But I think that there is a positive about putting your film online for free, but it should be after you've already started with festivals, you work with either a sales agent, or there are some TV channels that allow you to submit for directly. There are also some video on demand type scenarios that allow you to submit directly and get some revenue so that you can start getting paid for your work, your work being valued monetarily, as well as potentially getting money for your next project. Use that money for your next project, and then later, after all your sales have kind of flattened after about 3, 4, 5 years, then put it online for free. Put it on your website and have people be able to go to your website and see your work. But doing it out the gate, festivals, there's a lot of festivals that disqualify your film for being online for free. You should think about at the beginning when you've made a film that you're about an 18-month window for festivals. And while you're at your festivals, you should be looking at distribution strategies that can start as your festival run is slowing down, it's stopping. That's when you have the distribution start, and it takes ramp-up time to get those distribution deals to start, because buyers have their buying cycles. Some buyers buy once a year, some buyers buy every 6 months, and so they have their buying cycles. So when you submit a short film for review, it can take buyers sometimes anywhere from a month to 6 months to actually have the time and focus to review your film for consideration. And then when buyers are buying, sometimes they're buying for next year already. Like, buyers are already buying for 2019 and 2020 at this time. So there's going to be quite a big gap. So it's best to start looking at that as you're just going into your fest run or in the middle of your fest run, so that there's no gap time between your festivals and then your film getting out for further distribution. So festivals are like theatrical, and then you're moving on to your other parts of distribution.
E uma outra...
No, I totally agree with that. And I will add that sometimes you have to start with festivals, and like you say, buyers are coming after, and sometimes there is like some connection between the festival and the buyer. In France, for example, there is some award from the buyers. If there is like a French TV award, if they want the film, they can, the award will be that they will buy the film. And so sometimes I know that buyers are looking at the selection every year when the selection of Clermont-Ferrand, the biggest festival in France, is coming out. All the buyers are writing to the production company, to the filmmaker, to see the films, because they say, okay, the film is in Clermont, I will be happy to see it, to maybe buy it. And and sometimes since there is like a lot of short films, it's important to tell the buyers, oh look, my film will be in this festival, and maybe you can just watch on the internet the professional who is going to be there in the festival and say, oh, okay, my film will be projected in this competition, etc. And I saw that you will be a partner of the festival, and this is the way I'm working with the buyers in France.
Ok. Um outro ponto que a Linda mencionou também, que eu acho interessante, você falou de VOD versus o canal de TV, né? Eu queria saber, hoje em dia, qual seria mais, qual das duas mídias seria mais adequada para o curtas? Onde tem uma busca maior? Você acha que é no VOD ou nos canais mesmo de TV? Uma curiosidade.
Depends on the film. Like for instance, well, if your film is very well crafted and is viewer friendly, with that I mean it's not like for instance, one thing that's important is to consider when you're making your films to do two versions. Do a clean version, which means it's more family friendly. Like for instance, a lot of filmmakers now I'm noticing in the US, they are very gratuitous with profanity. They think that everybody uses the F word. Well, it's not true. Actually, a lot of people find the F word, the C word, all these words offensive. So as a result, TV buyers can't buy those films. Or if they do, they have to bleep them. So, or dip those things. So I suggest making one that's family friendly, you know, where not so much and not so much profanity, and one that's you can have a risque one as well. For video, what's like for video on demand versus television, it just depends on the film. It depends on what the buyers are looking for. I mean, there are some buyers that buy the rights for a whole country, and then they make films available on their own video on demand networks, or their television network as well. We actually, at Shorts TV, we have a broadcast network, which is like actual television, it's not online. Then we have an app where subscribers can log in through their mobile devices to see the short channel. And then part of through DirecTV, we also have a video on demand component where certain films are made available, like kind of the favorites are made available for video on demand. So it just depends on the film.
Eu perguntei isso também porque eu acho que o curta-metragem ele se adequa muito bem às outras telas, né? Por exemplo, celular, apesar que, claro, a gente está num festival que exibe os curtas na tela grande, eu acho que é a melhor forma de assistir um curta, sem dúvida, né? Inclusive, por exemplo, no festival de videoclipe que eu faço, esse Music Video Festival que o Ailton citou no começo, a gente exibe os clipes na tela grande, o que é uma experiência diferente, porque, claro que as pessoas normalmente veem um clipe ou né, no celular, então é uma experiência bem diferente ver na tela grande, mas eu acho que o curta ele se adequa muito bem a outras telas, né? Por exemplo, celular ou computador, enfim, telas menores. Vocês concordam com isso?
Of course. I mean, that's what has driven the short film market since year 2000. There was always an idea that short films were going to be, people were going to be watching shorts on their mobile devices. At the time, the internet was just forming. There was 56K, so we had to wait for the internet to catch up. We had to wait for technology to catch up. But it's all caught up now, and of course everybody is screening everything. I see this gentleman over here screening on his mobile device. So, I mean, you're definitely, definitely screening on your, of course. I mean, and you know what? At the end of the day, what matters is story. I keep talking about story. It's got to be well made, because one thing I've noticed is when you see a short film or a film on your mobile device or something small, and I've seen this as a jury member, because sometimes we'll pre-screen films before a jury, and then we'll come up with what we consider the finalists, and then we see them on the large screen. So the short film, the small screen is more forgiving. But when you see it on the large screen, you'll see the flaws will be amplified. So just think about that when you're thinking about making your film, making it well executed. But if something is amazing on the short screen, on the small screen, it's even better on the big screen. So just think about that as well. But yeah, of course, Jeffrey Katzenberg is launching something that he wants to. He thinks it's all mobile network, and this is 20 years later that he's getting into the game. But yeah, definitely shorts are great on phones.
Yeah, and I think that shorts are a really good object for VOD stuff, because for VOD stuff or airline stuff, because it's a small format. So for VOD, when someone don't know, what can I watch tonight, they can just watch 4 films in 1 hour. So it's really, it could be cool on the phone. You are, I don't know, in the subway or something, and you just have like 15 minutes or 30 minutes of your time. So I think it's a really good format to view the platform, to that kind of demand.
I want to say a couple of other things about shorts, or just in films in general. When you're making a film, consider making a film that you would pay to see. Because if you're making a film just because you are in a lot of pain, that's it, and then you just have to make this film and just sort of get it out there. That's an emotional therapy film, and that is not entertainment for most people to watch. So consider making something that you say, man, I would love to see this film. Then make that film, because that will be the sign of something that could be successful and commercial.
É engraçado você mencionar isso, porque quando você falou isso de terapia, eu pensei num exemplo que talvez seja um exemplo contrário disso, que seria o Ingmar Bergman, por exemplo. No.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and that was cinema.
No,
This is like
he's
that's
one
last
of them.
century.
Okay,
that
okay.
doesn't count.
Oi, eu sou a Helena, eu sou roteirista, e a minha pergunta é para a Linda, mas a Anaí pode responder também. Você falou sobre curtas, 3 tipos de curtas, sendo que um deles era Proof of Character. E eu queria saber se o objetivo dele vai ser sempre para que ele transforme num longa ou numa série, ou se eu posso de repente ter um Proof of Character para um festival, que possa ser selecionado para um festival. Consigo fazer isso? Se é possível?
Why not? Why not? Proof of character, usually when I think about proof of character, it's because somebody is trying something out to see how it works. They're trying to work out the character, but they're also trying to see how it plays in front of an audience. And if the character, it's really, proof of character is a biggie in animation. Specifically, you're working on your designs, you're working on something, and you see how it plays. And you're making it, you put it out there, and then some just take off. And that's the idea, is which are the ones that have the potential for a viral effect. It's with real popularity, and Powerpuff Girls were a really good example of that. And by the way, the Powerpuff Girls were initially called the Powder Puff Girls. Yes, but we changed the name when we started going into the actual shorts, because that's how it was pitched. We changed it to Powerpuff Girls. I don't know why, but they just felt like it would be better.
Você sabe, eu lembrei de uma outra coisa, uma curiosidade, não sei se você sabe, mas tem uma série nova que vai ser lançada pela Netflix, que chama As Super Drags. Eu não sei se vocês já viram, então, que é meio inspirada nas Powerpuff Girls. Então, eu não sei se eu deveria falar isso, porque de repente você pode processar a Netflix, I'm kidding, but no.
Oh, no.
No.
I have no rights for Powerpuff Girls. That was
okay.
Craig McCracken, and that was what a cartoon and everything. No, I haven't seen that on Netflix. Have you seen it?
No.
No, eu acho it's still not out.
Oh, okay.
I think it's coming up.
Okay.
on Netflix and produced in Brazil.
Oh,
It's
no,
a
that's
original Brazilian series.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's terrific.
Yeah.
All
Excellent.
drag queens.
Yeah, and they are all drag queens.
Oh, really?
Superhero
Yes.
drag queens.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, one of
Not
them
for
is.
kids, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so that's a funny.
Excellent.
Yeah. Alguém tem mais alguma pergunta?
Oi, olá, boa tarde. Meu nome é Yuri Barcelos, eu faço produção de curtas também, estou interessado em entrar nesse mercado. E eu queria entender um pouco como essas distribuidoras, tanto falando da França, tanto quanto dos Estados Unidos, veem essa relação da produção de curtas da América Latina. E como isso influencia o mercado para eles também.
I don't understand the question. Do you understand the question?
How do we see the Latin American short film markets from France and from the US?
Like, for Latin American films coming our way, or
I think so.
Yeah, like both way. Going that way, like we're doing it and sending to and using the potential of Latin American short films and going global.
I'm going to talk about Bear's story. Historia de Oso. So, Bear's story was a Chilean, Pato and Gabriel. So, years ago, I started going to Chile every year. I just was drawn to Chile. I just felt like, how come we weren't seeing any films from Chile? And so I started putting the word out about our TV channel. At the time, it was Shorts TV US only. And also about always putting the word out about, if you have a really great film, make a great film with a universal theme, very well executed, and why not try for the Oscar? And somehow, Pato and Gabriel got the message. They heard about, they decided to go for it. And so when their film was out, and they put it out there, and when their film was out there in the festival circuit, I saw the film and reached out to them. And they already knew about me, actually. They had already heard about me. And I invited one of them. He was coming to participate in something called The Wrap, which was an online film festival for like 5 days. And I was going to the opening of Holly Shorts and asked him if he wanted to come, and we went. And so we got to meet face to face, and I started talking to them. And I had actually reached out to them because I wanted to know if their film had Oscar qualified. Because if it hadn't, I wanted to help them through Shorts International become Oscar qualified. Because we actually have there's something we're doing, I'll bring this up. There's a film festival called Best of Latino Film Festival going on right now. And I think the top 3 or 5 films, we have a theatrical run and you get Oscar qualified. So I'm just putting that out there. I'm going to give you my email and then I'll send people links so you can submit. But there is, but in my email, should I do it now or later? No. It's L and then dot, and then it's OLS as in Sam, Z as in zebra, EW, S as in Sam, KI at shorts.tv. So I'll say that one more time. L dot OLS as in Sam, OLS Z or Z, E, W, S, K, and then I, or at shorts.tv. There's this great opportunity. Actually, it's the first time we've done it, and we're going to be forwarding some films.
When is that happening?
It's actually just started, so it's happening now. So I believe it's free to submit, so you can be considered to win this festival and get Oscar qualified. But the main thing, the reason I brought up Bear's story is they had a universal theme, and it was a personal story. Gabriel had, his grandfather had been exiled during the Pinochet regime, and he was living in the UK. So his father and Gabriel never got to spend time with his grandfather for many, many years because he was exiled in the UK. And so it was Gabriel's personal story, but it was a universal story about family. You know, everybody can relate to family, being apart from your family. So, and they worked out very hard for a long, long time to create a great story, to understand exactly what type of animation would work best at each part of the film, because if you look at the film, and you can actually buy the film on iTunes here in Brazil, and if you look at the film, there are 5 different types of animation in the film, and each way they did the film drove the story forward. There was a really great song, so they spent the time with good editing and a really great composer, and it was just one of those films that had universal appeal. So in terms of Latin films, that film, like, it's global. It's been an evergreen film. We sold it all over the world, and so it doesn't, I don't think it really matters where you're from. It matters that you're making a universal film where anybody in the world can understand. And non-dialogue films have that potential because cinema, true cinema, is all about the image, and it's about the image and being moved by the image, not talky.
Yeah, I agree with Linda. I think we don't really care about the nationality of the short film. I haven't had this chance to work with Latino short films already because I was working for a French production company, so they are French film for now. But yes, if the film has something to tell, we don't care about the nationality. But I think in France you have some festival with some focus on Latino American stuff, or maybe there is a lot of festival who really want to have a worldwide vision in the program. There is a festival in the south of France which really want to select short films which have a vision of the world. So the nationality, we really don't care. And yeah, maybe there you can watch the festival who have international competition. So they will pay attention to that kind of short film which tells something about the world, which have a universe.
I do want to add one more thing. I do also want to add that so in terms of short films, there's not as many Brazilian short films being made. So you're kind of ahead of the curve, like for instance in the US, oh God, so many people are making short films. And sadly, a lot of them are very, very bad. But the thing is in terms of the numbers, your films are, you have less people making films. So if you make a good one, the cream rises. So you might have more opportunities because people are looking for diversity in their programming.
Aproveitando isso que você falou, eu fiquei curioso, no Curta TV, você tem ideia mais ou menos de quantos curtas brasileiros vocês têm? Ou você tem algum curta brasileiro que você se lembre? Como, por exemplo, você citou a história do Bear Story. Você tem algum curta brasileiro que te marcou e que você lembre? Que foi um caso de sucesso?
There's a few shorts from Brazil that I've bought. I can't come up with the titles right at this particular moment, but there's just a handful. But I just started looking at Brazilian shorts, so I'm really open. So this is a good time for you. So take that chance if you feel so brave.
E uma outra coisa, no Brasil, eu acho que recentemente teve uma discussão grande também sobre o poder, o lugar de fala, né? Então, assim, por exemplo, filmes dirigidos por mulheres, ou por negros, ou por minorias LGTB, Gente, eu confundi a ordem. Mas tudo bem. Vocês têm também essa preocupação? Existe uma busca por esse tipo de filmes também? Assim, como que vocês lidam com a diversidade na hora de escolher os curtas?
So I'll start with women, because I'm a woman. And I guess it was about 4 years ago, we were the head of the curve, and we started, I wanted to promote women directors on our channel at Shorts TV USA, and our head of programming said, put together a list, Linda, and maybe we can do a top 10. So I put together a list, and it turns out I had 150 shorts by women, approximately. And when I looked at the numbers of all the shorts, I realized that I had picked up 98% of the 150 shorts that we had versus the rest of my colleagues, which was shocking to me, because some of these films were quite good, but why weren't they picking up women directors' films? So I suggested, I went to our head of programming and said, turns out we have 150, and he was like, really? Well, let's do a top 100. So we did 100 films by her. We launched with 100 films by her. And the next year, we did 300 films by her. And the next year, we did 500 films by her. And now we have a permanent zone on the channel called Films by Her. So we've been ahead of the Me Too movement. We have been ahead of the getting women, we're the one network, the one television network that has more women-directed films. And a lot of them are, we even have like Jane Campion, we have Corinda Chada, you know, who did Bend It Like Beckham. We have a lot of them, we have their shorts. This is terrific. LGBT, I buy LGBT. I don't buy explicit LGBT, but there's been some films that have been wonderful. And that doesn't matter as long as it's a really good story. And what was the other diversity?
Black.
Well, we have a big push on diversity. We've been doing, so we have, we started actually launched the Latino channel. In America, that's called diversity. So we have, we've been, in the channel, in the US, we started a Hispanic Voices in the US channel, which is how the TV Cortos channel became to be. We have, we definitely have a lot of filmmakers from Black filmmakers, as well as actors that are Black, as well as Asian. So we embrace diversity. The whole point is that this television network is a place where people can actually see every part of the world if they can. We're even going as far as doing a First Nations, the Aboriginal Indigenous films.
Nice.
And ideally, what I've been doing is I've been picking up films for the last 2 or 3 years that are Aboriginal and Indigenous, made by an Aboriginal or Indigenous filmmaker, preferably in their language. And they're empowering films. They're not We Are Victims films. We Are Powerful films, because the idea behind this is sort of a First Nation spotlight to make the colonistas that we are aware of how we need to get back on track, get centered, listen to Mother Earth, that we're in a bad space right now in the world, and there's possibly a way to listen to all these original voices, original nations, to get back on track. Diversity is a very big deal for us.
That's wonderful, especially about, principalmente também sobre os aborígenes, como você falou, muito interessante. A gente tem até alguns diretores também indígenas, né, no Brasil. Eu não tenho certeza se tem algum na competição no Curta Cinema, agora eu não tenho certeza, mas existe uma cena também up and coming de cineastas indígenas no Brasil, que é muito importante, ainda mais nesse momento estranho no qual estamos passando no Brasil. Mas esse é outro assunto, não vamos entrar nisso agora. Você tinha uma pergunta, certo?
Oi, boa tarde, meu nome é Alan, também sou roteirista. Eu gostaria de saber um pouco mais sobre o trabalho de vocês em relação às contratações e negociações. Não é uma coisa praticamente incomum aqui no Brasil um curta ser negociado além das telas de festivais, como você falou. Queria saber como vocês trabalham os curtas para os mercados, para televisões, para cinema, como vocês organizam as vendas, se vocês chegam também nessas partes de negociação ou apenas fazem um trabalho de curadoria, como é o trabalho de vocês para a distribuição internacional desses trabalhos, os caminhos que eles conseguem encontrar lá fora a partir do trabalho que vocês fazem.
So do you mean that, can I speak with you in English? Do you mean that how do I work with the contract, or with my contract for distribution, or how do I work with the buyers for? Okay. So for my job, I've got a contract for the festivals part. It's like a service. The producer or the filmmaker are paying for that, for the festival part. It's a contract for 1 year, and we can follow like a year and a half, because we found that the exploitation in festival is 1 year and a half. And on the other side, I've got a contract for the distribution part. It's like a percent of the sales. Yeah, exactly. So it's 30% for us and 70% for the filmmaker or the producer. And so how do I work for? So for the festival, it's just I'm taking care of the registration and of the selection of the material and of the communication, that's kind of stuff. And for the sales part, is different between the French TV channels, because they pay a lot, not a lot, but they pay a lot of money to buy the short film. It's like something like I can't remember. Yeah, it's like a price for each minute of the short film in France, and they are also working with the scripts. They can pre-bout a short film and something like produce it, and they can also buy the film when it's done. There is like the other TV channel, like the cable channel, and it's another windows for the short film. It's less expensive, and it's not on the public TV channels. There is a contract with the other TV channel in Spain, Italy, etc. The contract with the distributor. There is like a distributor in Japan, and so they buy the short film, and they will take care of everything in this territory of to find VOD platform, to find movie theater. For VOD platform, it depends. Sometimes it's a share between the sales, 50 for us, 50 for the platform. Sometimes you have minimum guarantee for the sales. Yeah, and for a lot of association or movie theater or for some events are looking for short film. I've got like some short film in some LGBT association, in the special program in movie theater, and I'm using like price list they can rent the films, just for one projection I've got a price. And it's always the same, and it depends on the duration of the short films. So it depends of what kind of buyers I'm speaking to.
Shorts International pretty much works the same way in terms of sales. However, their rates are a little different. When they do sales, it's 50-50. And if they are a shortlisted film, it goes to 40%, and 60% in your favor and 40% in ours. And if they're nominated, 70-30. but that's negotiable. Sometimes, depending on if it's a high-profile film or if it's got a celebrity, or then we're at 70-30. In terms of shorts TV, the way the contracts work is we just send you a contract, and it's the TV channel is a non-exclusive TV channel, a TV license, and it's for 3 years, and it's for unlimited runs, but it doesn't pay a lot. It's only $10 per minute. So if your film is a 20-minute film, you get a fee of $200 for your film, and that's for Latin America. If you go into North America, if your films makes sense for that territory, then it's an additional $18 per minute. If your film makes sense to go into Europe, it's an additional 20 euros a minute. And then if you go into India, it's an additional $7 a minute. So it ends up being about $55 a minute if we can buy your film for all the different territories for a non-exclusive license. And if you have a distributor, or if you've already perhaps maybe been approached by like a Canal Plus or a Movie Star or RTI, you can do an exclusive deal with them first, and then if there is overlap in territories, you could always do us as in your second window. And so that's when I talk about thinking like a studio. Studios have usually it's a 5 to 7 year window for films. So you start with the premier licensed buyers that pay well, really, really well, and then you go to the second tier buyers, which is where Shorts TV would fall, and then there's third tier buyers, which is pay even less than what I mentioned. So that's kind of how you would window it out, and you window it out per platform, per territory.
Oi, meu nome é Ana Clara Costa, sou estudante de cinema. Eu gostaria de perguntar para as duas, as pessoas estão começando a estudar distribuição, quais são os primeiros passos para quem quer realmente empreender dentro do ramo da distribuição? E, enfim.
You want to work in the distribution to start with short films or for? Short. Okay. Manifest is a young company. It's only 3 years old. So I know that before Manifest, all the distributor was almost only working for the selling part. And this is a new thing in France, that a company are starting to work with the festival stuff and with the sales stuff too. So maybe it can be something interesting, because a lot of production companies don't have time to take care of the submission of the festival stuff, and sometimes the filmmaker don't know how to do that, because it's a job, you know. You can be a filmmaker, you can be a producer, you can be a distributor. I don't know if you can be the three of that in the perfect way. Yeah, and I think what is important now after 3 years is that we have we took some films which went in the big festivals, so it's more easy for for some short films which are not so easy to distribute, to get an attention on them. Sometimes some festivals are asking me for one film because they saw it in a program or in another festival, and I'm like, okay, here is the short film, but I've got like 10 other that you may like. If you want, you can. So maybe it's important to. I think I really know my short film, and I can always find some new buyers, some new associations, and just keep the contact between all these actors in the industry. Because sometimes I don't know, a jail asked me for a short film 3 years ago, and I was like, okay, I've got a new short film with the same topic. Maybe you just want to see it, and it's working like that. And I think it's a small industry too. It's a small world, So if you go to a festival, the people will be there in 5 years. So you can have a real human contact with them. This is something like, okay, I really like your film 3 years ago. I want to see them again. So this is like this kind of relationship you may build. Yeah. Do you have another question about that?
Eu queria que a Linda também respondesse e também queria perguntar sobre os longa-metragens. Aí como é que seria os longa-metragens nesse sentido, então?
Okay.
If I were choosing in distribution between shorts and features, I'd go into features. And I love shorts, but I'm just telling you, it's a lot of work. And the revenue that you get is a lot lower in shorts than it is in features. And a lot of it just has to do with the total running time. A lot of the buyers are buying based upon the total running time. And if you've got a feature that's 2 hours or 200 minutes, well, I'll say 120 minutes, or you have a short that's 4 minutes, the amount of work that you have to do to sell the short is the same as the feature. And the money is so much less. So it's like very labor intensive. If you really want to go into distribution, I would advise that you work with somebody first, because there's a lot to learn in terms of the rights management, legalities, what works in your country versus other countries, because there's a lot of different legalities. In addition to that, the tech part of it in terms of understanding the technical requirements from all the different buyers, because they're different around the world. They're getting more standardized, but they're still a bit different. Also to, if you work with somebody like I really believe in working with somebody as like an intern or an assistant for a while, like helping somebody who's experienced, because from when you're kind of there helping them, even if it's, you know, you're typing up all the memos or whatever, you're seeing, or you're typing the contracts, or you're typing the budgets or whatever, you're actually seeing how this all works, so that you know how to do it right. And also you might learn a lot of what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. You know, you can see, learn from their mistakes. Yeah, it's distribution has changed a lot in the last 10 years. There were a lot of distributors, because I started in shorts. I started in shorts actually in 1993 with Hanna-Barbera, but then when I really got into like acquisitions, that was the year 2000. So that was 18 years ago. And then I've seen what has happened, and like when I started with Shorts International was 2006. That's a long time. It's like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And what has changed so much since then, even in the last 5 years, like all the different platforms are changing. It's constantly changing. We're constantly having to redo our contracts because all the rights are changing, or the requirements are changing for each different platform, and it's daunting. And also I have seen a lot of people that were very passionate in shorts, just as passionate as me, and they don't work in shorts anymore. They're all like, they left. They're working in features. But there's new people that are as passionate, thank God. But it's, and it's true, a lot of distributors are doing the festivals as well, and part of that is because some of the festivals, not only there's a service, they have contacts to get your film really seen by the programmers, because there are a lot of festivals that just take your submission fees and they're curating the festival, or they're barely looking at the films. So it's good to actually work with somebody that has contacts into festivals to make sure your film's seen. Clermont-Ferrand is a great festival to submit to, because even if your film is not in the festival, if it's not accepted, it will be accepted into the market. And there are buyers that go through and maybe don't pay attention to what they've programmed. They're just looking for a certain genre, and they may find your film and go, oh, saw your film. And actually, there was a guy, when I went to Clermont-Ferrand in the year 2000, I saw this film that I thought was terrific. I thought it was wonderful, and but didn't get into the festival. And I told the Laurents, I love this film. I bought this film. You missed this film, and they're like, we can't get everything. And but anyway, this filmmaker took the money. So he submitted to something I was doing at a company called EVO, and he won the contest. He won all this money, and then he used that money to make another short film. And the next year, he submitted to Clermont, and he won Clermont. So you never know who is looking at your film. Just get it out there.
Ok. Infelizmente, estamos chegando no final, na verdade, dessa conversa. Eu queria agradecer a presença de todo mundo. Vocês querem fazer alguma consideração final? Acho que a gente tem tempo.
Yeah, maybe you can just, if you want, to show me your film or add some question, and I will be happy to give you some advice and that kind of stuff about festival strategy, about the sale things. Don't hesitate. I will give you my email after if you want.
Also, too, when you're looking for a distributor, consider how passionate the distributor is about your film, and like ask them questions like, why do you like my film so much? And let them answer. And because if you've got somebody, like I'm working with somebody right now, like on the side for a festival strategy, academy strategy. I love his film, and I saw it when I was in Argentina last November, and it takes place in Argentina, but I was looking at it for another festival, and wow, it's a great film. And I'm trying to help him get to get it nominated, and he was being surrounded by a ton of people for a while, but he's working with me because he knows I love his film. So if you meet somebody that really loves your work, like you can tell if they're honest, then take a chance and work with them, because that is a lot more important to have somebody working with you that really believes in your work, than to be part of a larger catalog, maybe with a more prestigious company, because you're going to get that one-on-one attention to your work and directly to you.
Yeah.
Perfeito.
Yeah, and I think as you said, it's like it's not always easy to know what you can do with the festival stuff, the sales stuff, and one part of my job is to speak directly to filmmaker, and I think it's important for festival, for production company, because they are not taking care of the film anymore. So if there was some issue with the production company, it's over, because I'm not aware of that, and it's like they know that someone is helping us with the strategy, so they are like, okay, I made the film, and now I know that you will work with him, and I will just do my job in festival and not be stressed by this festival strategy, because I think it's something really stressful for the filmmakers.
I want to add one more thing. Festival strategists, the normal business model is that you do pay them, and they help with get your film into submissions. But if you ever meet any distributors out there in short films, and they're asking you to pay them to distribute your film, run. That is not the way it works. There are some short film distributors out there that are doing that, and do not sign with them, because that you're not supposed to pay a distributor to distribute your film. They're supposed to get your film, all your deliverables, and they're supposed to split the profits with you. That's the way it works.
Ok, bom, então eu queria agradecer de novo a presença de todo mundo. Desculpa, da Anaís e da Linda. Obrigado, merci, thank you.